Go, Peter.
Let me tell you about the lie we've been living in for centuries, millennia. They say peace through domination's justifiable while building up the arsenal. All the sages and wise men of the ages were guiding us to look within ourselves. But the fear so divisive and the lies so enticing, we keep spinning this hell. Shine your light, you are the future being told. Cultivating the seeds we've sown. 99 days of peace through unity. 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 99 days of peace through unity.
Hello and welcome to Conscious Living here on 100.5 FM CFRO in Vancouver. And my name is Marc Caron. We are here on the unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I'm really excited to be here today. And it's really an auspicious week happening around the world. It is World Unity Week, and it's kicking off 99 days of peace. And I got to say, I've really been honored to be part of this program. And we've been at it for the past 4 days, bringing leaders from around the world talking about unity, talking about peace, and the things that need to happen in the world to really create a better everyday life for all of humanity. And I've been blessed to meet a beautiful soul by the name of Ben Bowler, who I'm happy to call my friend and acquaintance. And Ben is the executive director of Unity Earth, which is a global platform dedicated to empowering unity, purpose, and peace. Unity Earth is a primary conveyor of World Unity Week every July around the mid-year solstice, and Peace Week every September around the International Day of Peace. Ben, thanks for joining me today. Is this last-minute opportunity that we came up with to really share your work that you're doing. So welcome to the program. Welcome to Conscious Living.
Oh, Mark, it's great. It's great to be here with you, and great to be sitting down to talk about something that we're both passionate about, which is this amazing community coming together and the opportunity to broadcast and tell a new story. Of course, the solstice is in June. You can tell I'm probably haven't had enough sleep when I wrote that. I said July, but World Unity Week is every year around the mid-year solstice in June, and obviously the International Day of Peace, which we're building up to in September as well. We have an embrace around that, which is Peace Week. So in between World Unity Week and Peace Week is the 99 days of peace through unity, and we've just kicked it off. We're on day 4 here today, and working with you, Mark, and the team at Hubcast to help broadcast a lot of the amazing content. Has just been so much fun and a privilege, and we're halfway through the week.
Yeah, we're literally at the halfway point. We've now just, I think 8 shows a day, 4 days. We've done 38 programs broadcasting live around the world with people and leaders from around the world, which has really been incredible. And I think it's really a testament to, the way the world has changed over the years, especially the past few years, because of the pandemic. We're doing a lot of these things virtually and bringing in people from around the world. And, we've done a really great job. I really want to thank Peter too at Hubcast and, for really bringing this stuff and these programs to the world in a different way that is live, that is interactive, so that people around the world can actually be part of it in these Zoom environments. And I think it's really great to be able to have this opportunity to share your mission. And what I'm really curious about, Ben, because I've been behind the scenes, I've been watching you all week, and I want to thank you for taking the time out of this busy week, because we know what it's been like that in what we've been doing. I just thank you for the spontaneous nature that we decided to do this program today. So thank you for that. And what I want to know, Ben, is how the heck did you get into what you're doing? What's your story, my friend?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I think it's our story. Really, I think the more we do this work, the more incredible souls around the world you meet, like you, like Peter, like everyone in World Unity Week. And I think the one defining feature of everybody, everyone's different and diverse and coming from so many different backgrounds and still different to beliefs. And, there's a tremendous amount of diversity there, which is beautiful and essential. I suppose the one defining factor is at some level, we all feel called, and we feel called into this moment. We feel called into this work. And, there's so many courageous leaders out there that have devoted their lives to somehow advancing the cause of human evolution, to somehow push it forward despite all the odds and the limitations and the not knowing and the external pressures and our own fragilities, just to somehow find a way to answer that call at an individual level. And now as we find each other and we find that our skills and our experiences and our passions are so way beyond just complementary, they're like magic when we come together. There's a new earth rising when we pool our talents and our skills and our experiences in a way that is collective. It's a force like I don't think the world has ever had before, in the sense of what we can do together as a community. So, my story, well, I suppose like many people that I talk to as well, Mark, I probably had a sense of calling from a young age. And, where does that come from? I didn't ask for it. I didn't choose it. It was just there. And, I had experiences as a child where I, was aware of just like the wonder and the majesty of existence and life. And some of those, I guess you would call them awakening moments. So, there are a couple of ones when I was quite younger, and then I grew up in an environment where I was exposed to a lot of different cultures. My father's a scientist, and he traveled a lot to China and right across Australia with Indigenous communities, and my brothers and sisters and I got to experience a lot of that with him. The real hero of the story is my mum, who held the fort and raised 6 kids while dad was off doing his thing, and his thing was amazing, but it was, but mum was the one who held it together at home. But yeah, those experiences with my dad out in the desert with Aboriginal communities in Western China as a 12-year-old, I was there for 3 months. So I was from the sheltered suburbs of Canberra. My dad was at the Australian National University in the capital city of Australia, which is Canberra. And I grew up in, one of the most sheltered places on earth, which is the suburbs of Canberra. And, to go from there to Western China, up on the Tibetan plateau with Tibetan communities, and of course with the Chinese culture and community as well, in 1985, mind you. So it was before China had really opened up. And we're in a city called Xining, which is a few million people, and there really were no other Westerners there. Occasionally you'd get a backpacker kind of hitching a ride through in a truck on his way to Lhasa. But it was pretty wild. And I guess those sorts of experiences can't help but expand your consciousness. We all know the power of travel, right, at any age, and engaging with another culture and meeting another culture and realizing, hey, wow, the world's a lot bigger than I thought it was. It's a lot more rich. It's a lot more diverse. It's just a lot more. And I suppose they would have had, and no doubt had, big influences on me and my thinking and my awareness. And in Aboriginal Australia, it's a huge part of our story that my father was involved in the discovery of what became the oldest human remains ever found in the Australian continent. So in 1969, with his discovery of Mungo Lady, and then in 1974 with his discovery of Mungo Man, completely changed our understanding of human occupation in Australia. That's a whole story in itself. And so, at that point, just to sort of give you an idea, Mark, the scientists in Australia back in the 60s were thinking, how long have Aboriginal people been here? Was it before Christ or after Christ? They were having those sorts of conversations. These discoveries set the timeline back beyond 40,000 years of continuous living culture, fully modern humans, and they were reverentially, spiritually buried. There was ochre and ash and ceremony of the ritualistic of the burial. So I grew up with all of that, right? So there's multi-layers, intercultural kind of answer to it. There's the ultimate answer, which is the mystery itself. Why does anyone get called? Right? I mean, ultimately, that's one of those things that's just in a box outside of our ability to really answer. And then there are many different other answers inside. I will say I've always been fascinated and, to the point of bordering on obsessed with the diversity of human spirituality and all of our different cultures, our religious traditions, the prophets and the saints and the great spiritual leaders throughout history, and our religious, cultures and dynamics, and our spiritual movements, old, ancient, new, emerging, all of them fascinate me. So I guess I've just had a passion. Some people it's golf or surfing, but for me it's human spiritual cultures. And how do we find ways to connect them and to find a greater whole that allows us all to be who we are in an interconnected way where everything belongs? So that's just been a part of my journey. I've had many different experiences along the pathway, but that's a little bit of an attempt to answer of, how did I get here doing what I'm doing? So, Mark, you want me to come and unmute you. That's a good idea because let's get your voice in here. All right.
We've been talking about it all week, the unmute thing. I've had the power all week until it's a show I'm doing.
I think I might just talk for another hour. How about that? No.
Well, hey, and I'm sure the wisdom that you would impart on us would be well worth every moment. So, Ben, thank you so much for sharing your story. And that's really quite incredible. And you said so many things that I certainly resonate with. And, the founder of Conscious Living, Andrew Resmer, who started this over about 15 years ago, was really part of his mission as well, was to bring in voices to raise consciousness, to help change the course of humanity, and believing that we are here to be in service and to help one another. And, at the end of the day and all day, every day, really, let's just all get along, and this is the thing that I really loved. And I've been so inspired this week about the program you have put together, because you have brought in so many people that, really resonate with me, the learning that these people have brought, the inspiration for myself, and I know for others, because I've heard it for the past 4 days with the programs we've been leading. And it's just really incredible. So, You talked about Indigenous people raising consciousness and the work around the globe, and I certainly agree. And in your programming, I really want to acknowledge the Indigenous content and programming that you brought to the table, because we've had so many great Indigenous teachings, and we just had the World Prayer and Peace Day that we brought in live from California, just outside of Mount Shasta, with Chief Averill and a lot of the people you brought in there, and they brought into their program to really impart, some beautiful, beautiful teachings, as well as, share some of the stories about, the history of the Indigenous people in North America, and not only North America, but bringing, we've had people from Peru and India come in, and Indigenous people from all Indigenous cultures. And I think that's really powerful, because, one of the programs we do is called Spirit Plant Medicine Conference, where we really honor and look at the Indigenous teachings the indigenous plant medicines. And Chief Phil, who spoke at our conference last year, said it so beautiful yesterday when he just talked about plant medicine. He wasn't talking about psychedelic plants. He said psychoactive plants and how plants can help us change, and the wisdom that, we look through history, the thousands of years where these indigenous teachings and the way of life, it wasn't about money and all these things that we've created in our kind of Caucasian society or Western culture, however we want to define that, and how we bring it all together, talking about nature, the planet, the water, just the woman talking about salmon today was really impactful because, over the course of time, Tasha, who's our regular host of the program, we do the Vancouver International Film Festival every year, and we get an opportunity to really take a look at these documentaries and speak to the people who this work is affecting, talking about the pipeline and how that affects, the planet, the people, nature, even let's talk about commerce, around that, and the impact that has on the planet that so many people don't necessarily consider. And to me, that's a big part of what consciousness is the awareness of our actions, of our thoughts, of our words, not just on ourselves, but on the people that we touch every day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there's a lot there, Mark, to kind of like dive into. And it's beautiful. The diversity of groups coming together is amazing. It's like really rich. And I think we're ready. Everyone in their own way has been preparing in their group and doing their thing. And even if their thing was something that included the whole, but now we're finding each other. And again, like me as a kid from Canberra going to Western China, we're realizing that the whole is bigger than we thought and is broader and more diverse. And, and we're expanding in that sense. And so part of it is just building bigger containers and spaces which can hold more and more and more, and building capacity. And that's part of why it's so exciting to be working with you and Peter and the Hubcast team, is because you're building our capacity. And I really want to touch on that because it's a really important part of what's allowing us to go beyond where we've been before. Let me talk a little bit about World Peace and Prayer Day. Chief Arvel Looking Horse, back in 1995, selected June 21st to be World Peace and Prayer Day, and started it. Obviously, June 21 is the solstice, right? It's the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. It's the winter solstice here in the southern hemisphere. And so, since 1995, World Peace and Prayer Day has been June 21, which is going to be today, right, when this goes out, and that platform has been going around the world. World Peace and Prayer Day has travelled to South Africa with Archbishop Tutu. Arvel went there, came to Australia 20 years ago in 2003, up in the bush and up in the Grampians Mountains. And I was blessed and fortunate enough to be one of a few thousand people that was there back when I was a young fella. And it had a big impact on me, Mark. And actually, I remember, because the smoking tobacco is it's not part of our Aboriginal spiritual culture. It's obviously very much part of a North American indigenous culture. But Chief Arvel was standing at this big fire and this huge ring of people around him, and he's in the middle smoking a cigarette. And it really kind of like struck me as an image. And, it's a sacred prayer smoke. And he put out a call for leadership. And I remember it really landed in my heart. It was a beautiful moment. And I'm sure it landed in, just about everybody's hearts who was there. Very powerful. So that was 20 years ago today, right? And when you spoke before about the pandemic and 2020 and how everything changed, we feel that 2020 is kind of going to be considered an axial year, and that really we're in the third year of a new dispensation. We're in the beginning of a new era because everything changed. The way we work, the way we travel, the way we relate, the way we interact, everything transformed through that global initiation in 2020. Even the fact that we were all 8 billion of us having the same experience, which had never happened before. Never happened before. And, there are major events like the Super Bowl or people going to the moon, but that's only still a fraction of humanity. But the pandemic was everyone. And so through that collective initiation in 2020, we evolved to something that is new opportunities began, new doors opened up, and it was really during that period of the early 2020, Mark, that together with key creators like John Raymer from the Sign Network and Emmanuel Kunzelman from Purpose Earth and our friends at the United Religions Initiative, this idea of World Unity Week kind of emerged, and it emerged through us as like, well, let's do something while we can. Everybody's at home. We can, we've got everyone's attention. Let's do something around the mid-year solstice. And we realized there's so much around this week. Yeah, there's the UN International Day of Yoga on June 21 as well. There's World Peace and Prayer Day. There's the UN Refugee Day, which was yesterday, 20th of June. There's the signing of the UN Charter in 1945. Now, some of your listeners may be highly skeptical of the UN, but the fact is the Charter is based upon high ideals, and it really was a step forward for humanity. Imperfect as the institution may well be, it was still something that was an attempt to limit war and to end war in its early intention. So the whole date around this particular period of time is so rich with all these different events that World Unity Week was like, well, let's throw our arms around all of it and hold all these different things together. The International Day of Yoga, together with the Solstice, which is already celebrated by Indigenous people all around the world. World Peace and Prayer Day, the other celebrations that people have around this time. It's also World Localization Day on the 21st of June. I'm sure it's a lot more things for us to discover around this week. So that was really the intention, to connect these things together in an interconnected way. And John Raymer from the Sign Network, who's really in many ways the architect of the convergence, allowing anybody to come on and do a program, to host a room, to convene their group. So we're now in our fourth year, and it's been something that has been an evolution the whole step through. And as I was saying before, Mark, just to close on this, and then I'll throw it back to you. What Hubcast is doing and what you're doing is allowing us to up our game in terms of the broadcast quality of this amazing content. So today we had World Peace and Prayer Day from up near Mount Shasta, live on location, incredible content coming under the leadership of Chief Arvel. We had the legendary Vandana Shiva in a dialogue with Linda Tucker, who is also a legendary global leader of the White Lions Trust in South Africa, having this extraordinary conversation about the lion and the seed. And then we also had George Floyd's uncle just with us, talking about with the Ungarn Institute about racism and how do we heal it and how do we go forward. It's such a problem for everyone all around the world, and historically and presently. So all of these things happen just in one day. And if you think about how they all hold together and how they're interconnected, and what happens next, the content we have is extraordinary. We know it is world-changing and transformational. And unless we can get it out to a broad enough audience, it's not going to have the impact it needs to have. So part of that is we got to up our game. There's no point just bemoaning the fact. There's no point just saying, oh, where's all the people? We've got to get better. Somebody said, we got to learn to throw a better party. Right. And so part of it is doing that. We're taking responsibility for, becoming that attractor, which can bring more people in, Mark, more people like you, more people who are already on the journey, who have already got the calling, who have already given their life and their hearts to something meaningful and purposeful, to find other people and to connect and to collaborate and to become something we've never been before. And so Hubcast, Peter Young, God bless him, and you and the whole team at Hubcast, because allowing us to improve how this looks. One of our dear friends, Peter Blaise Corcoran, said his mentor used to tell him, if you've got something which you think can save the world, right? Help the world, change the world. If you've got something you think can change the world, then it needs to look like it can change the world. And I think that's what Hubcast is allowing us to do, is to up the quality of the broadcast. And that's a very, very exciting thing. And we're still learning. We're here in June. We're getting set for September. Peace Week 2023 is going to be amazing, and another step and another breakthrough. So deep bows to you, my friend, and gratitude to you and the Hubcast team, because together, when we pull our gifts and our talents and our resources in a spirit of generosity, which Peter Young has just jumped into this, he said, yes, we're going to do it. This is part of his mission. And when we do that, and you're doing it, you're like all in, I'm going, this is part of my mission. When we do that together, then there's nothing that can stop us. And there's no limit to what we can be a part of creating together.
Absolutely. And again, so much there to unpack. You said first, I completely agree, because 2020 was certainly a bizarre change of life for so many people. And for those people who know me, one of the things that really inspired me was, I do a lot of work with Tony Robbins, and he did these crazy virtual events. And I got so inspired. I said, I want to be part of doing stuff like this. And I've known Peter since 2018 with some of the work that we've been doing as a client. And I just said, Peter, can we do this? Can we do this? And I love the fact that he was always willing to let's find the way to bring people together in a different way. The virtual, that we can bring people in from around the world to interact with our guests in our panel and ask questions, that we can do hybrid events. We can do a live event with a virtual audience at the same time. And it's to use these tools, like you say, to bring us together, because it's connectedness. We've had so much separation. You talk about diversity was a big one. And yesterday's theme being oneness, which is a big part of my life. And when we realize, even though how different we are very much the same, and we're all interconnected in a way that creates a global oneness. And when we can work within that framework and, come from a position of love and understanding and not judgment, and how can we help, how can we serve, and to inspire people, because, experience is the best teacher, right? And it's, with some of these things that we've been doing this week, like every day at 12 o'clock, we have Teresa Collins doing the global
coherence pulse, the global coherence pulse.
The meditations, the sound journeys, the things that we have going on to give people not just a bunch of people talking and sharing knowledge and information, but people sharing wisdom, which is a big difference, and providing experiential opportunities that actually work online. And if I want to say one thing, to whether you're watching at home, you're listening on the air, it's morning, noon, evening, wherever it is where you are, is to really, I challenge you to embrace and consider embracing this new virtual interactive world, because a live stream on a website is one thing, and it's great. But I believe if we're going to build community, if we're going to bring people together, Zoom is a great platform where we can have our cameras on, we can be talking back and forth, and really having that opportunity that you don't get from a standard live stream. And I think we've proven that really well this week, right? And really, we've brought a lot of people together. I don't know how many thousands of people around the world have been watching what we're doing, but it's not just knowledge and information, it's experience and wisdom that will change your life, will change the lives of others. Because when we transform, other people around us transform. And it's that ripple of the stone in the pond, right? And as that goes out, it's how do we make a difference? One word, one nice thing. We don't know what somebody's going through in their day. And if we can meet them with love and compassion and empathy and understanding versus judgment and criticism, we're opening a safe, sacred space for transformation to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? And I was saying that, Ben, because I know you and I could be talking for hours, and we already have been for the past 4 days, but we've got a great musical experience with Kristen Hoffman, and I'd like you to maybe introduce her and what she does, who she is, because she's just a beautiful soul, a beautiful musician. But I'm going to let you frame up our next little segment for us, if you would.
Well, Kristen is one of the most special beings in the cosmos. I think she's an angel, really, and she's given her life to her incredible gift of music. I mean, Kristen is a genius, and one of the best singers you'll ever hear, one of the best songwriters you'll ever hear, lyrically, musically. She's just, and she had a fork in the road in her own career, Mark, at one point where she could have kept doing the thing with, Capitol Records and trying to break through and be commercial. And she made a different choice. She went down, though, I'm going to use my art in the service of humanity and to elevate consciousness. And boy, she has just delivered that in spades. Tonight, on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. in the Zoom room.
Well, you're in Australia. Let's just say Wednesday. It's Tuesday. Oh, well, yeah, Wednesday.
No, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's today, right? I mean, then like later today in America. I know it's a Tuesday night for you, but it's always hard trying to define a day in these global events. But Wednesday at 7 p.m., Kristen will be releasing her album Rainshine, which she's been working on for 7 years, live, the world premiere inside World Unity Week, which is amazing. But you'll get a sense of it from this video. She is so tapped in and she is so devoted to bringing the art and music as a tool for elevating consciousness and to lifting us all up. And our theme, which you can see in my backdrop here of New Earth Rising, this actually comes from this piece of music you're about to show, Mark. So we had a symposium in February for World Interfaith Harmony Week, and our theme was Visions for a New Earth. And Kristen came on, and this is totally spontaneous. This is improvisation, but she just starts, she calls it a soul om, and she just goes and she lets the spirit take over. And she brought through the phrase New Earth Rising, for our whole theme of World Unity Week comes from this piece. So I'm really excited to.
But before we go to it, Ben, I just want to say, if you're listening to this on air and you're driving, please be careful, because this will take you away. It's just beautiful. And that's what I wanted to say to that, because music can change your life. So thank you for that great introduction, Ben. And let's enjoy the beautiful gift of Kristen Hoffman.
Yeah.
sisters and brothers, humans, trees and rivers, trees and those rivers. Oh, love is Lord, abundance, generosity, and gratitude. It's difficult to encapsulate it all, but we do our best to call forth our heart. We're anchoring the feelings of gratitude. Lift them up, lift them up, lift them up. Wave your flags of one humanity in the air. Oh, sing with me. Oh, there is a new earth rising, a new earth rising. Oh, Gary, there's a new earth rising, a new earth rising. Oh, Summer and John, there's a new earth rising, a new earth rising. Oh, new earth rising. I see Patricia lifting it up, and Olivia, and Karen, and Danalia, and Linda, and Emily. We're lifting it up, lift it up, lift it up, lift it up, lift it up. Oh, there's a new earth rising, new earth rising. Oh, there's a new earth rising, a new earth rising. This is you all, this is everything that I knew to be true. Wow, I thank you, everyone. Loud voices singing out, all voices singing out. New earth rising, feel it in your heart. Oh, darling, there's a new earth rising, a new earth rising. Hear it in your dreams. A new earth rising. Yes, it is possible. Just hold it, sing it, dance it, feel it, envision it, believe it, love it, share it, hold hands with it, whisper to it in the night, Pillow talk with it. Dance your feet deep into the earth of it. Sing that song that sings on and on and on and on and on and on and on, from heart to 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 heart. Raise your candles high, feel those flames unite, that sacred one flame. There is a new earth rising. Now is the time, now is the time. Compassion torches rise, uniting with peace, flame, and unity lamp. We are lighting the flame again, heart to 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 heart. All creatures of this planet, all cosmic beings, all angels, all guides, all ancestors, hear our call. Be with us now, be with us now, as we lift up with you, with you, with you as one family. There's a new earth rising. Hear it on the wind, hear it on the wind, hear it on the wind, hear it in your heart, the winds of 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 your heart. There's a new earth rising. There's a new earth rising. A new earth rising. Carry it with you, this new earth rising.
Wow. How incredible was that? You know, it's like I'm with you there, Ben. And I want to say to anybody, if you're listening to this on air this evening, really, we're actually streaming this live the day before you're hearing this on the radio. And I want to encourage you to go take a look at our website, consciouslivingradio.org, because the video will be up there and you'll be able to see with Kristen's performance how everybody was involved, how we brought people from around the world in to enjoy her music, which is what we are working on moving forward, to bring people in on a better way. And it's something we're looking forward to doing as we move forward with Conscious Living Radio as well. So Ben, thank you for bringing Kristen into my awareness.
Oh, well, you're welcome, brother. She's someone who is a great blessing and a gift to everybody. So I think, you know, her mission is a global one, and you can feel the holiness and of her intention and her devotion. Yeah, she's
my crown chakra's tingling right now.
Yeah. She's a blessing to the whole planet. For sure. So her concert is Wednesday, 21st of June. So that's probably today, as people listening, at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And you can find it. You can go to the1.stream. You'll be able to watch it and enjoy it for free. The 1.stream will take you there, Mark. And a lot of the content from World Unity Week is going out there.
Well, and that's what I wanted to say is everything that we've done and broadcast in this past week is available there as well. So you can catch Chief Avril and the World Prayer and Peace Day talks there. You can catch it all from everything we've already done. And we are starting another 4 days first thing tomorrow morning as well. So there's a lot more, excuse me, a lot more coming down the internet pipe, as we would say. And it's just incredible that we're able to do this work. And, you know, I just want people to really take a moment and ask yourself, what can I do differently? If I was to do one thing, because it's not about going out and eating the whole pumpkin in one bite. You know, we want to be able to, you know, small changes make a big difference over time. And if we can multiply that from 8 billion people on the planet doing one small thing to change the world based on the environment, you know, meditation, global coherence, whatever that is, it doesn't mean you have to go necessarily change your life, you know, upside down tomorrow to be part of this movement. It's putting it in your heart first and making a difference one step at a time.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. Ben, please tell people how they can find and see everything that we've been doing again, please.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you just go to worldunityweek.org or unity.earth, or certainly worldunityweek.org would be a good place to find all the incredible content for World Unity Week, and then our platform of unity.earth, which is one of the primary conveners of World Unity Week. You'll find a lot of stuff there, a lot of history, a lot of ways in. But I love what you said there, Mark, about, for people just to do one thing. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, and you can look at people
Absolutely,
who are doing amazing things. I think, wow, I feel so far away from that. I feel so removed from that like a Kristen Hoffman or a Chief Arvel looking, or wherever it might be. But I think it's just, like you said, finding, what's the one thing you can do? What are you called to do? We don't have to do everything. Nobody's going to do everything. So just doing what you're called to do, I think that's the answer. And there's the freedom. And there's the joy, in that, because you don't have to go at this like a world on our shoulders kind of thing. We just get to do what we're called to do. And invariably, what I'm finding is, what people are called to do is something that they are deeply, deeply passionate about, have the skills for, or at least can develop them, but have a certain X factor that allows them to pursue that passion and that purpose with a joyfulness. Now, doesn't mean there's not sometimes sacrifices, and that's a word sometimes that that people have different take on, but the payout of following your calling is infinitely rewarding. It's infinitely rewarding. There may be some things you got to lay down along the way, but it's infinitely rewarding. And so I just love your call out for people to follow their hearts and follow their calling.
Well, absolutely, because, and even if, sacrifice, I understand the linguistics of the word, but what if you were to actually ditch something that you maybe habitually do that maybe doesn't serve you to your greatest higher purpose, and replace it with something, or find that path that makes a difference? Because in all the work I've done over the years, we all need to feel safe and secure. We all like to have some variety because it's the spice of life. We all like to feel that we're important and that we matter and we make a difference. We all want love and connection. And what I think so many of us, and we get so busy being busy in this rat race of the Western world and work. It's to take the time to continue to grow, because if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that lights me up when I work with people and they're stuck somewhere, the first thing I'll say is, go contribute somewhere, go volunteer, go do something that you're passionate about, that's beyond you, that helps others, because that's where the juice is. That's where the joy is. I always feel best when I'm giving, when I'm serving, when I'm growing and learning. And if I can impart inspiration and some of the things I've learned, if I could say, if somebody just says, wow, you give me something to think about, I feel like, that's my work here is done and I'm still here. So there's lots more work to do. And Ben, I got to just say how honored and humbled I am to be part of this event this week, and just what it's done for me, even though we all have that our own path. This week has really been inspirational and impactful for me as well, on so many different levels. The growth, the contribution, the learning, the connections. It's like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at 100 right now. We're all getting by. You're in Australia. We're all getting by on crazy little bits of sleep, but we're passionate. We're excited. We're having fun. And we know we're making a difference for people. So I want to really thank you for the work you're doing. And I'm happy to be part of the team to support this global initiative to really create change in the world. And I think that's, it's the juice of life. And if you don't believe it, my suggestion is try it, test it, go grow, go do something beyond you for someone else with no expectation of something in return, just because you care.
Beautiful. That's beautiful, Mark. Yeah, right back at you. I know we got to close now, but just so grateful to be doing this together. There is a lot of enjoyment and a lot of fun and laughter along the way. My final words, Mark, would be there is room for everybody. And we need everybody. There's a room for everybody. And finding
There's a
out
Zoom room for everybody. You can join us in Zoom. Come, you got 4 days. Come and join us. Be part of the in-house virtual audience. We'd love to see you there.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Thank you, brother. It's been great to sit down with you and have this conversation. Loved it. Look forward to more to come.
Thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate the time that we've had. My name is Marc Caron. You have been listening to Conscious Living Radio here on CFRO 100.5 FM in Vancouver. Until next time, take care of each other, everyone.